thought to that. And the posture communication it's not what we might find a lot of people in different pockets have the same idea, the same concern, and no real legitimate way to run it up the ladder, run it up the flagpole, and get it resolved, get it enacted, take initiative with it. And so this has started to do that. It's really had that sort of effect.
Awesome. Okay, so you, at least for me, broke up pretty badly in the first bit. So can you just like quickly rephrase that?
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
I can pay my Comcast bill real quick. I mean, really, it's just a matter of putting in a formalized structure so that get their concerns. And my speaker's not working.
Yeah, you're breaking up again.
Better, worse, same?
Better, a lot better.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm still getting an error message, just clarifying. We're good? You can hear me? Yeah, so we have, we had a lack of formalized structure for athletes to be able to run things up the ladder in short. So you had a lot of people in a lot of different pockets with the same ideas, same concerns, and they never really went anywhere because there was not really anywhere for them to go. There wasn't really a go between the board who's having to be the eye in the sky over everything in the entire sport, the entire organization, and all that reaches internationally. And there really wasn't enough of a formalized structure to be an intermediary. And so it definitely jumped at the opportunity to help be a part of that.
Awesome. And I actually have like a second part to this question as well. In terms of, obviously, each of you represent a different kind of demographic. What are your priorities for the group that you represent on the AAC? So again, back to you, Michael.
Yeah, so there's definitely, we have the, confidence of the group that voted us in the case of Athena and Alec, the general membership, and for me, the national team. And so, there are certainly ideas that we came in with of how to accomplish, what we want to do for the national team. It's, more opportunities to play and the like. But, as a committee, once we're there, the voting process is about gaining the confidence of the group that elects you. But once we're there, we're working on behalf of all the athletes simultaneously. So, when we're in the room, Alec's not just men's general membership, he's every athlete in the organization, as am I, as is Athena.
Awesome. All right. And Athena, why did you apply to be on the AAC?
So I applied because I really wanted to help give back to handball, because it's really made a huge difference in my life. And I wanted to do something to help. I was notified that there wasn't too many people applying for the position, but I did know, I did take note that it's a very important position. It's something that was really needed. So I decided to take the initiative on that, even though I initially didn't fit the list of qualifications that they were asking for, which was, I believe, to come in the top 3 or 4 in the last nationals. Well, I didn't do that, but I did earn the MVG title, so I figured that maybe that would help out, push me along. And there was no one else running against me too. So I honestly think that in itself is a little bit of an issue. And so I'm kind of just really hoping to kind of help out where I can and what's needed, and help kind of be that bridge between the women's side of membership and like the board. So, and just kind of going to the second question, the follow-up that you had, was to make sure that women are feeling equally represented within handball. And to tell you the truth, I think that it's going to be women who are going to be the ones to usher in handball into the general audience when handball does become a bigger sport. I think much like women's soccer really did kind of bring in a lot of new fans to soccer in America. I think women's handball will do the same. And, a little fact that I learned from my teammate and coach, Mishi Mensing, she was telling me that in Germany, handball initially started as an organization, or the IHF. I can't remember, but one of the first organized handball leagues was a women's handball league, because soccer at the time was supposed to be not becoming of women. So they, at the time there was no contact, of course. But initially it came out that way, that women were the ones who really brought out handball to be organized in Germany. And I think we're going to do the same here.
Awesome. And Mishi, I hope you're watching. I'll send this to you tomorrow if you're not. All right, Alec, it's your turn. You know the question already.
Yeah, I don't want to reiterate everything that both of them said. So basically along the same lines, I've been in the handball community for quite some time now, and I'm always a very active, outspoken person, and I form relationships pretty well with people. And so I would always talk to people from other teams, and they would have just amazing ideas, and I would always say, why isn't USA Team Handball listening to this? Why isn't USA Team Handball listening to this? Especially some of the people that we have from Europe that have grown up playing the sport at a very high level, been involved with some of the top organizations in other countries, and we have them here, and we're not really tapping into that, and that comprises most of our membership group, right? So it was that, but then there's another piece of this. There's such a rich tradition of West Point and Air Force representation with USA Team Handball, and me, as well as a few other people, slowly saw that dying off. And it was more like, hey, someone needs to apply for this. And I was like, I'll just do it. I'll apply. Because I had a lot of good ideas, and I still have some good ideas. Really not my own, coming from other people, just pulling it all together. A lot of the people from Europe and South America and Asia that are in the United States playing the sport. So really trying to be a voice for them is what inspired me. And then also obviously the military piece of it too. So.
Awesome. And so both Alec, both you and Mike kind of touched on, connecting these disparate populations with USA Team Handball through the AAC. So just from your perspective, as this is a new organization and new council, and obviously you guys are still in the formation, figuring out your footing kind of stage, but what would you say are your biggest priorities for this? What's the biggest priority on your mind for the AAC? And we'll just throw it to Alec, and then we'll go through everyone.
Well, so my own biggest priority would be to find a way to play handball again, ASAP. I mean, these other sports are finding ways to play, and I know they have a lot more money. They're whether it be the professional leagues or their national teams federation has a little bit more money. But finding a way to play again would be, in the short term, would be my biggest goal. And then I think, and this is me discussing with a lot of people offline, finding a way to refine the club system to where that there is more regular competitions and it's equal throughout, and maybe forming some sort of regional leagues or regional affiliations to where you compete against teams regularly, kind of like the Northeast League or what they have on the West Coast now, or the Midwestern Handball League, I think that's what it's called. But ensuring that teams are actually able to play regularly, especially because in tournaments, I know the team that I used to play for prior to NIAC would run in this all the time, Night Air. We wouldn't be able to get into tournaments even though we had people available, just because there wasn't enough space for us, right? But then there wouldn't be another tournament for 2-3 months that we could make, and we weren't able to play in that one because of our schedules, So it's just ensuring that teams are able to play continually, and then starting to play again. Those are my ideas.
Awesome. Makes a lot of sense. And as the person who wrote the return to play guidelines, I'm sorry that you guys aren't able to play yet, but I promise, we're trying to prevent the COVID thing. All right, Michael, I'm going to throw it to you. Same question. Priorities for the AAC, for yourself and the AAC.
Yeah. My pet project from probably the first meeting that I didn't want to push too hard because it will be an undertaking for this committee is to try and make some suggestions on how we can rewrite the bylaws for USA Team Handball. Our national bylaws have a couple points in there where you read it and it could actually mean several different things, and you have some contradictions and stuff, which ultimately everything that we do is going to be trying to maximize the experience of the athletes. And that's, making things simpler, making things clear, trying to create the most opportunities to play with the best quality. And that's, I think our contribution to growing the sport as this committee is, we don't have the resources, we don't have a budget to go, do certain initiatives, do certain things. But if we organizationally and for the input that we can give for bylaws, for specific instances, for events, in order to help it be a better experience, we hope that has a compounding effect on all the other efforts. If the athletes have a good time, we expect there to be more athletes.
Yeah, that's awesome. Very insightful. All right, Athena, it's your turn.
So for me personally, I think one of the best things about the AAC is that we're going to be able to really get into facilitating communication. And my personal goal for me is to try and get to know as many people as possible. So when, obviously I do want to get back to play ASAP personally. But when we do get back to play, I would love to be able to meet as many people as possible, hear everybody's ideas in person, and just kind of talk about these things, take some notes and bring it all back to the AAC, and kind of just be able to facilitate better communication between all the teams across the country. And I really think that it's not going to be the AAC that really moves things forward. It's going to be the handball community. And I think that the AAC is going to be a great tool that the community can use to facilitate all these great ideas that everybody has, and how we can work together and talk to the board. One of the things that I've been talking about with Kel Heat and with Melissa, and I think that the overall membership community would probably love to have its own town hall meeting. So all the membership can get out there and talk about how, their ideas and everything like that. And we can have these Zoom meetings for now until we're able to get back together. But I think communication is really going to be the key to lock up all these teams all over the place, getting to know each other.
Yeah, definitely. So like in all of your responses, obviously it's very future focused, and obviously I'm sure on everyone's mind, at least I know on my mind, is 2028, and that we have that guaranteed spot in the games for that. So obviously we're trying to grow across the country. What are your hopes for this sport in the US in the future? Athena, you talked about, how you think women are going to be the people who push that forward. Do you want to expand on that a little bit more and talk about anything else you want to talk about?
I'm probably a little biased, but I think it's my own personal opinion that women are just more fun to watch, to watch play. Or we just play a more interesting game. But no, seriously, in reality, I think that it's, from my experience, a lot of the women in the community really have that drive and really have a lot of great ideas, and really are pushing a lot of things. So like on the beach side, for instance, we're trying to expand club teams on the beach side. And a lot of my teammates have taken great initiatives to push expansion of beach teams too. So I think that women are really going to be the leaders here. But I also think that we have a great opportunity to take the space of some of these other sports organizations that people are really losing interest in, especially NFL, NBA, some of these bigger sports that people are they're not getting the audience anymore. And I think that people are going to be looking for new things to try. And I think that we really have a great opportunity right now to kind of put USA Team Handball on the map as something interesting as an alternative to the main ones that people don't want to watch anymore.
Definitely. All right, Alec, you mentioned increased competition. You also mentioned how you wish that you had been exposed to handball at a younger age. I imagine youth development is then something that kind of matters to you, but I'll let you talk about what you kind of are prioritizing.
Yeah, I'm a big advocate for playing multiple sports as a kid. I know there's a lot of people that are like taking up the approach like, okay, we need to target all these basketball players and get them to move away from basketball and play handball, or get them to move away from these other sports. I don't think that needs to be the case. I think we need to utilize the skills that we have in some of these other sports that transition well to handball and get kids playing handball in addition to these other sports. Shouldn't be a type of thing where we're, at least at the youth level, right, trying to steal kids from other sports. It should be, hey, you have this other sport that ties in multiple sports all together in one, and you're very good. I mean, let's say you're a linebacker in football. You'd be a great pivot. You know what I mean? You'd be a great pivot on the handball court. Or you're a point guard in basketball. You could be a great wing or a great center back in handball. You have amazing passing skills. Hopefully you can throw a little bit, but we can figure that out. It's just targeting these kids who are already well-rounded in other sports and getting them to understand, first off, that 2028 is not far away at all, right? And then getting them to understand the opportunity that they have and that handball is a legitimate and fun sport. I think that starts with talking to Ty Reed and telling him to get into the ear of the dudes at Barstool Sports, because he already has a few of their ears, and telling them to get us on Barstool somehow. That's
Barstool, please tune in. But also, if anyone, so essentially what Alec just talked about, we spoke about last week in our coach development or athlete development, or 2 weeks ago in our athlete development Facebook Live. So that's on our Facebook page, and you guys should watch it. All four of the panelists on that pretty much say that multi-sport is like the only way that we're going to get top tier athletes. So Alex, right on the money, and make your kids play multiple sports, including handball. And now Michael King. Am I frozen or is everyone else frozen? Oh no. Okay. Oh no.
Yeah, cleaned up.
Right.
Yeah, can you reframe the question for me? I got lost in Alec adding Big Cat, so I don't quite remember what we were talking about.
Well, our main goal is obviously to be sponsored by Barstool. Just kidding. Please don't send me angry emails tomorrow. Anyone?
We're very happy with Verizon.
sponsored by Barstool.
We're very happy with Verizon. What as we're like looking to 2028, what do you want for the future of this sport?
Yeah, there are, so many opportunities. There's so much to do. I guess the number one thing I would hope for is, being able to push for incremental progress. There's a great many things to do. One of the big focuses of our committee on the same vein has been try to focus on one or two things at a time, rather than trying to do 100 things that could all be better halfway. Let's do one thing and make that better and then move on to the next thing. So I kind of hope that the main focus is that mindset. On a larger point, I think my goal before 2028 at some point is maybe change the perception that seems to be ubiquitous throughout the community and the outside world, that it's, if we just were able to get more athletes into handball, 25, 24, if we just got these guys that played other professional sports, we'd be fine. Nothing could be further from the truth. We need more opportunities to play. We'll continue having athletes come through. We've had athletes. We have athletes now. We'll continue to have athletes. But, if anybody here, if you haven't played golf, you walk out, you could go play golf for 3 years. You still would not be able to qualify for the PGA Tour. And it doesn't mean that you're not a good enough athlete. And if you want to pick on golf and say that's a bad example, then you're missing the point. The point is that these people have been playing handball their entire lives. It has its own skill set. The game is highly complex. That's why it's worth our time, is because it's an awesome game. And to pretend that you can walk in by throwing 90 miles an hour and jumping high and everything else solves itself is selling everything about what the sport has to offer short.
That's awesome. As well, this is kind of a pivot, but all three of you are national team members also, obviously. So, and obviously we've been in a pretty uncertain time in terms of training. All three of you have touched on the desire to go back to play, which I totally understand. But how have you been continuing your training during this time? And also, as a special shout out to our sponsor, Verizon, if there are any small businesses that have really helped you out with your training during this time. We're going to start with Athena for this one.
So one of the biggest parts, one of the biggest things that I've been able to kind of stay in like the way of things, is that our team, the beach team, we've really had a lot of meetings. So we're always kind of together and trying to push ourselves up and give each other ideas. And we have my Cal Heat, we have workout groups. So there's all kinds of different options, and we've all been trying to support each other. On the beach, like for, well, to give you one example, you're asking me about small businesses. On the beach team, we had to do a fitness test. And so this is the first time I've had to do like a fitness test on my, like a legit fitness test on my own that I'm going to submit to my coaches. Apart from the team. I ended up going to like, one of my favorite places is like Play It Again Sports. And so they're a small, real small business. And I had to go there and get like cones and like measuring tape and like things like that, and then I found a small MMA gym that was doing things outside. So I've kind of really been held up by a lot of the small businesses, so to speak, in my community. And, I've been trying to avoid the big businesses because the small businesses are hurting so bad right now. But yeah, so I've been really kind of leaning on my teammates a lot and my gym.
Yeah, of course. All right, Michael, same question.
Yeah, I mean, full disclosure, I'm an executive member at Costco, but I still support small businesses. For me, I've moved out to DC. I'd been in Chicago, but while in this time when everything else is remote, it's good to have a nice change of scenery. And so, it's been, as far as staying active, I have been in the gym. I can't confirm whether or not they have FiOS Wi-Fi, but it is a strong connection at Body Smith Gym. They do appointments, hour time slots. It's a little awful to be, trying to do heavy lifting with a mask on, but you get through it, and it's become its own new routine, and it's been an excuse to find other ways to get moving, which, it's been more, the struggle has been more keeping some form of, intense exercise in the routine rather than it being the same exercise. So it's been a different challenge, but my gym is a small business that's been working to stay through. And then Slipstream Coffee, DC on 14th Street, is about the only way that I make it from the noon to 6 window without having to take a nap with everything else, especially given the amount of life that's conducted on a computer right now. So there's definitely a presence there, and hopefully they're Verizon customers so that I'm not causing problems.
You're good. So it sounds like small businesses are helping you in your handball life and your real life, from what I'm hearing. All right, Alec, same question. How have you been training through this time, and are there any small businesses that you want to shout out that have kind of gotten you through this time?
Yeah, so not really any small businesses that have been helping me out besides like my local health food store for like nutrition purposes. No, the really robust handball community in Oklahoma has been helping me out. That's also a joke, but no, it's me trying to tell everyone what handball is here. I'm still actively doing that. No, just continuing to do what I normally do as I approach fitness. Just working out. My job requires me to be in shape, so I am in shape. maybe a little bit less than I usually would be, but that's okay. Just continuing to work out the way that I have been. And then my 3-year-old son keeps me active as well. So jumping on the trampoline, practicing my like role as a wing, because I never got that down. So yep, that's pretty much it.
Awesome. I'm sure the 3-year-old keeps you busy. All right, so we're kind of nearing the end of our session. That's the end of my prepared questions. Is there anything that you guys want to just say as like final words to our community or anything like that? We'll start with Michael, because he's below me in the way I see it.
No, I'm happy to let Alec and Athena share their thoughts. I think I've proselytized sufficiently for one session.
Okay. So Michael's last words are, I've talked for long enough. All right, Athena, it's your turn.
I'm just very happy that we have a lot of people working in the back, despite that there's no, some people are practicing, but no tournaments going on or anything like that. No real handball going on. But there is a lot of stuff going on in the background to make sure that when it does come back on, that it's going to be better than before. And so being able to see that in the AAC and kind of see a lot of those things has really inspired me to kind of like keep on going. Like, when are we going to open up? Like, I'm just so excited to open up, and I can't wait to see everybody on the court. And if you see me, come and say hi, and you can tell me whatever you want, whatever your ideas are, and I'll write them all down, bring them back to the AAC, and we'll talk about your ideas, and we'll see what happens. So I can't wait to see everybody.
Awesome. And now Alec, your turn.
Oh, you know what? I'm gonna say that we need to do what we can. This is a little piece that I missed to get some gear, get some USA Team Handball gear out to all the clubs. Any members? I think with the membership thing, that's something that I should probably be talking about in the AAC as it is. That's my job, right? To try to get some gear for all the athletes. I think like I have like 2 USA Team Handball shirts, but I couldn't find them. So I'm wearing a West Point one. But yeah, we need to get some gear. So maybe Verizon can help with that a little bit too. Like throw some Verizon stuff on there. That's my final piece. That's it. I think we covered everything else.
All right, that's a hot take from Alec. I'll let you know on that one when I talk to the board about budgets. But thank you all for tuning in today. We are somewhat in the process of getting gear, though I can't guarantee that we're going to send it to people. I just know that we are working on merchandising. Thank you all for tuning in tonight. Our next session is going to be 3 weeks from today instead of the every other week, because that's election week. And so we don't want to distract you guys from your TVs, because I'm sure it'll be an exciting time for us all. And that will be a reunion of the 1972 Olympians. And the next time, I promise it's not going to be me, it's going to be Melissa, because I think all of you have seen enough of my face over the past 6 weeks. So thank you all for tuning in. And again, this was the 3rd installation in our Facebook Live series sponsored by Verizon.